Alter Rebbe's life comes to encapsulation. Full force, says the time. The full force of a tzaddik's life is all potent on the day of his yahrzeit, which was today. The Alter Rebbe was unbelievable. He was an neshama chadasha. Now, neshama chadasha means he was a new soul. That's what the Baal Shem Tov told his students. That's what the Maggid of Mezrish told him at a certain time in his life. And he was a new soul. What is a new soul? What means a new soul? There's three explanations of what means a new soul. The simple explanation of a new soul is lowest level that had never been here before. Most souls have been here before. Which means that the soul comes down to do a tikkun. It's here to correct something that was imperfect. When the soul comes down for the first time, that means it's not here to correct anything that was wrong. It's here for a new mission. It's a new mission. And that was the Alter Rebbe, a new mission. Then there's a higher shot. Not only was it never here before, but it's a new type of soul. Usually a soul that comes down gets affected on the way down, you know? It goes gilgulim. Like a snowball, it gets affected. But this soul comes in such a high place, it's lamala miseder ishtal shalut. It comes down like it's up there. It's just a transplant. Could you imagine? He has it. Most of us don't experience down here zero what we experience up there. This soul, the Neshama Chadash, a new style, that it's down here just like it's up there. And then there's the Pshat what the Alter Rebbe himself writes in his book. What means Neshama Chadasha? What does the Alter Rebbe write? You know what he writes. Neshama Chadasha means he's a neshama that's not part of this system. It's beyond the system. All the system that we know, all the neshamot are included in whose neshama? In the original neshama of Adam HaRishon. But there are neshamot chadashot that were not included in Adam HaRishon, says the Alter Rebbe. So now you know what means neshama chadasha. It's a new soul. It's higher than even Adam HaRishon was. It was not included in Adam HaRishon. Adam HaRishon is the beginning of the system, and this neshama is shayach latid lavo. It's a neshama that has a connection to the future, and that's a neshamot chadashot. That's what the Alter Rebbe says. That's a neshama chadashah, and that's what the Rebbe says from the Rebbe that Chassidus is the beginning of Mashiach's Torah. So l'chaim, the Alter Rebbe brought two lights to the world: the light of Chassidus, the light of Nigla. Maybe someone learn something from the Alter Rebbe's revealed Torah, the revealed part of Torah, the halacha, the Gemara, the Mishnah, and the hidden part of Torah, the Tanya, the Torah, and connect to the Alter Rebbe, because the Alter Rebbe said, whoever holds on to my doorknob is going to have a good life. You know how you hold on to his doorknob? Don't let go of the handle. In other words, he's saying, you don't even have to come into the room. You don't have to be in the light. You can even be outside as long as you hold on to the doorknob. Yadid shaladel. Don't hold on tight. So l'chaim Hashem mashgacha pratis, Hashem made us all have a connection to Chabad. Oh. Finally, I didn't take a pot. Now we know that it's a holy day.
Alter Rebbe Aleinu.
L'chaim.
L'chaim l'Rebbe.
No, let's sing a song of the Alter Rebbe. The Alter Rebbe was also a composer of many nigunim. Is a nigun from the Alter Rebbe? Rabbi Shneur Zalman Ve'yideko Eloikai Anei Me'eko
Take a bunch.
Where's Daniel sitting? Oh, there. Chaim, Yochanan, Chaim.
Chaim.
Chaim. Everybody likes a story. So I'm going to tell you something that I'm sure I said before, but I don't think it hit home. We are sitting now in a building. We're sitting now in a base Chabad in the Rebbe's house in the honor in the merit of the Alter Rebbe. In the merit of the Alter Rebbe. What's the story? So everybody knows that I went through issues with infertility. Didn't have children for many years. So I have a very close friend. His name is Moti Garari. Moti Garari lives in Crown Heights. He's a very interesting, fine young man. Hashem should give him Marichis Yom Shalom Teves. And he's a very wie sagt man zu Hitz? He gets into
Passionate.
He gets very passionate about things that he feels passionate about. So one night, one Matzah Shabbos in the winter, at 2 o'clock at 1 o'clock or so in the morning, or 12 o'clock. I don't want to exaggerate. I want to try to keep it exact. Very late at night, I get a call from him, and over there, 3 hours later, I was very scared. Why is he calling me in the middle of the night? Excuse me, what? Why is he calling me in the middle of the night? So he tells me, he says, Moshe, do you have a passport? This is the kind of guy, this is how he talks. So I go, yes, I have a passport. He says, okay, I want you to go tomorrow morning, go make a ticket, and I want you to go to Russia. This was at the beginning of the end of Glasnost, when you were able to go to Russia.
What's the age?
We're same age. We're more or less, he's a little bit older than me, but we're very close friends. We went together on Shlishas many times, whatever. Anyways, so what's the story? I said, Monty, well, 12 o'clock at night, Matzah Shabbos, why are you telling me if I have a passport? What's going on? So listen to this story. This story itself is a worthwhile story. He says, tonight, Matzah Shabbos, every year they make a gathering of descendants of the Alter Rebbe. It's called Kenes Hatzitzoyim. I said Tzoyim, I'm sorry, forgive me, I said Tzoyim. Maybe it's the same thing, but anyway. Kenes Hatzitzoyim, I'm sorry, you're right. Embarrassing, but whatever. Kenes Hatzitzoyim. So he says that there was a Malav Malka, and tonight somebody spoke. He wasn't a Einikel, he wasn't a grandchild, but he said the following story. He says that he is in diamonds. He's in the diamond business, and towards the end of the communist period, when you were able to go somewhat into Russia, so he took the initiative to go into Russia, but people were scared to go. He took the initiative because in Russia, as everybody knows, there's a tremendous amount of diamonds, of minerals, of diamonds. And many people that took that initiative in the beginning became very successful. So he decided he's going to go to Russia, and he's going to try to buy diamonds and do business. He says he went to the shul. There's a shul there. Archipova. The main shul in Moscow was there, Archipova. And Archipova was a shul, a big shul, a huge shul. And there was still, at that time, older Yidden. There were older Yidden in the shul. I remember when I was there was a Yid that was a student of the Chafetz Chaim, and then was Avram Wasserman. It was the last of the Mohicans almost. The few Jews that were left. There was a mikveh there. There's a yeshiva at one time. In any case, so he goes here to daven. He goes to daven. After davening, he sits there. They had a little, like in the minhag in many Eastern European communities, they would sit down with a little bronfin, a little l'chaim, and say l'chaim. They had a little cake, a little whatever. They had l'chaim. So he said, when he was on, they told him, come, sit down, say l'chaim. So he sat down. So there was an elderly Yid there. He said, I want to tell you a story. He said, I want to tell you a story. He tells this Jew from Borough Park, I want to tell you a story. He said there was a Yid who didn't have children. And he went to the Rebbe Rashab, the fifth Rebbe Lubavitch, to ask for a bracha. So the Rebbe Rashab told him that for that you need to go to Haddish. As is known that when somebody has that kind of a request, it was a tradition that if you went to the Alter Rebbe's kever and davened, so you were helped. And the Rebbe Rashab told this Yid to say certain chapters of Tillim, and he would be helped. And Taka this Yid went. This old man is telling this Yid from Borough Park that he went, and he said the Tillim that the Rebbe Rashab told him to say, and a short while later, his wife became pregnant and they had a child. And the guy tells the Yid from Borough Park, how do I know that the story is true? Because I'm the child. The story is just beginning. So this Yid that came from Borough Park to Moscow to buy and sell diamonds, to buy diamonds, who came to the Milava Malka, the descendant of the Tzatzoyim of the Alter Rebbe, said as follows: I have a daughter who lives in Lakewood, to a fine younger man, and for many years they're married. They don't have children. He said, I felt that the Eibusher was God Almighty was leading me to this, that he's telling me the story. I hear the story. So you have to understand this must be in the late 80s. I was in Hadich later, as you'll see, maybe from the end of the story. I was in '93 in Hadich, and even then there was nothing there. Meaning it wasn't easy to get there. Meaning, and when you were there, there was no facilities, etc. Were there. So he says, I made it my business, and I flew to Kiev. And I had no idea where to go. I had no idea because you couldn't go. There was no infrastructure. But I went to Kiev. Kiev is in Ukraine. Hadich is in Ukraine. He was in Moscow, and Hadich, where the Alter Rebbe is buried, is in Ukraine. And the main city of Ukraine is Kiev. In Kiev, there was still also the same thing: one big shul, etc., the same system, the same infrastructure. So he goes to Kiev. He goes to the shul. And they have the same thing. There's a few old Yidden there. There's nothing really going on. Today, over there. There's a big restaurant. I mean, it's a big situation going on in Kiev. But in those days, there was nothing. So he goes into the shul and he says, "Listen, I need to get to Hadich, the Hadich. In Ukrainian, they call it Gadich because they can't say a H. I need to go to Hadich, and I'll pay whatever it costs. I'll pay a driver." In those days, $1, $2, $5 was you could buy half of Russia in those days. Seriously, in American dollars, he says, "I'll pay whatever it is." So they found somebody who knew the area where Hadich is. He was never there. He knew Hadich, and they went. And once they were in Hadich, in the village of Hadich, they already figured out. They asked the guy, whatever. They figured out how to go to the Beis HaKvaros. And the Alter Rebbe's kever is on a hill. And in those days, it was very dangerous. I went with the rabbi of Chabad, and he slipped. He fell all the way down to the bottom of Ashkenazi, all the way down to the.
You went into the water?
No, but it was the Shrekha. The father, yeah, sure. So in any case, he goes there. So he says like this. He tells the people at the Tzotzayim, he says, no, I didn't know which kapitlach to say. So I said the whole Tillim. And I figured within the whole Tillim are those Tillim that the Rebbe Rashab told the Chassid to say. And I want to tell everybody here, says the guy, whatever, a year later, whatever, my daughter had a child. He went to pray for his daughter, and his daughter had a child. So this Mati, my friend Mati, calls me up. I should take my passport and go right away to Hajj. Okay. So to make a long story short, I think I told the story once. I'm not going to say it in all of its detail, but I ended up going in December of 1993. In December of '93, I ended up in Hajj. When? Back on Chabad Teves. With Yochanan Garaner on Friday, and then I went to Shah Friday night to Rabbi Lipsker's sister's house, which is a story in and of itself. But in any case, I davened for two things. Davened for a child, and I davened that Chabad of Sherman should have a building, because in those years, the real estate was prohibitive. It was not possible it was almost impossible to rent a place here. Even to rent a place for a shul was not easy. And Allah has kama v'kama, the only place here to make a shul is on Ventura Boulevard. There's nowhere else to make. There's no side street to make. So it was prohibitive. So I davened for a building. That the Eibusher should help us. We should get a building. For Chabad of Shemanot. So the Eibusher helped. El Rebbe helped. That there was an earthquake on January 1994. How do you make an earthquake? You go to Hadid. You go to Hadid. You say Tillim on Erev Shabbos. And in June of '94, we bought this building. We had there's a Gvir. His name is his name is Steve Gritzman. I'm sure he's still alive and well. He was a very close friend of Rabbi Gordon, and he is a very big Gvir. And in addition to being a very big Gvir, a very smart man. And in addition to all that, he had some type of relationship with banks. He was very, very well connected. And this location where we're sitting now was a clothing store, a children's clothing store that many people in the valley used to bring their children here to buy their bar mitzvah suits, called Boys Will Be Boys, which is why we have an upstairs mezzanine, because that's where the tailor was. The tailor was there to fix the clothes, and because of the earthquake, it was somebody bought it. Somebody was in escrow to buy it, but because of the earthquake, they went out. Because I have pictures in my house. I have an album of pictures. We went around a day or two after the earthquake. Literally, there were buildings that looked like birthday cake cut. Literally, people don't know this, but Sherman Oaks was one of the bad hit. Why was Sherman Oaks badly hit? Because the fault went from Northridge down to the mountain, right? There's a fault, went down to the mountain. And when it came to the mountain, it went back. So Sherman Oaks got it twice. Sherman Oaks got it on the way there and on the way back.
Rebound.
A rebound. And I'm sorry?
Also, the Sherman Oaks had a very soft soil.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, almost,
The water table was very high.
Yeah, could be. So anyways, literally, I have an album of pictures, literally of buildings and houses, literally broken, partially broken. So this Steve Gritzman called up Rabbi Gordon, and he tells Rabbi Gordon, he says, "Listen, Rabbi," he says, this place, we had also Yizocha L'Toiv, Victor Haddad. We had a meeting, and we were talking about, because we were growing out of the other place, And we were talking about renting, and Victor Haddad says, well, renting, I'm tired of renting, let's buy a place. We have to buy it, can't rent. So we started looking for a place, whatever, it wasn't shaykh, it wasn't possible. And then the earthquake hit, and this place, the agent who leased us the first place on Ventura Boulevard, he was a nice Jewish boy who later became one of the most popular real estate agents in the valley. Very, very chashuv guy.
Matt Epstein?
No, not Matt Epstein. I forgot his name. Bruce something, but I forgot his name. He called up Rabbi Gordon, and he said, Rabbi Gordon, I want to tell you something. There's a building for sale, and maybe you can do a deal. Maybe you can, went out of escrow. So this Steve Gritzman knew the bank, and and the bank told him, if you give us this and this kind of an offer, we're going by June 30th. I'll never forget. By June 30th, when they have to close their books, or close at least their books for that portion of the year, they don't want to have it anymore on their books by the closing. They want to get rid of it. So, No, not really. No. It was garnished. I mean, this was a house. This was Bushra house, and in the front was a store. It was, you know what it was? It was very interesting. It was a upside down house. In other words, the building, the entrance was here. So in other words, the roof on Ventura Boulevard
was down slow.
The roof was down. You understand? It was like a sideway house. You walked in this way. So what we did was we broke the wall, and we picked up the house, we picked up the ceiling, right? Canaan, that's what we did. So we came up with the money, Baruch Hashem, and we also had a relationship with the bank. There was no such thing that a bank didn't want to give a mortgage to a religious institution. Because what happens, they stop paying, the first interest their bank is going to foreclose on the synagogue. It's a bad publicity. But I had a relationship with them. They gave us a mortgage. It wasn't a lot, Baruch Hashem. And I came up with money also, and we bought the building, and also my son Shalom was born on Shvedish Tammuz. Shvedish Tammuz is tough. Same 94. Same
back. Kissed the Teves Gimel.
Yeah. So then.
No, Teves Nadal. 93.
No, then later. So then we had a story here in Sherman Oaks that Eitan Avisar had a very bad lawsuit, and there was another person with a tzara, a friend of mine, and I also wanted more brachas, so we made a trip to Hadich, 5 guys.
How many years later?
I don't know, if you remember these things. Yeah, years later. And
15 years ago, 14 years ago.
And we did the same thing. We were there for Shabbos. We were there for Chayelu. This time was Chayelu. Last time was Chabad Teves. This is Chayelu. And we did the same thing. And Eitan doesn't sleep at night. He said 3 times to him, Eitan. Said 3
his daughter
times.
should get engaged.
And that the lawsuit should go away. And I said to him, everybody else said to him over there, and everybody that went, they had what they wanted. My daughter Shchana was born later, and the guy that went with me, Yossi Chazanov, he had his issues, that Baruch Hashem, and Eitan had issues, Baruch Hashem. Everybody that went, and Seifo Marozov went with me, and he also had Shidduchim. He was very worried about Shidduchim. Everybody that went. Wait, I'm not finished yet. So, Baruch Hashem. Mamish by Eitan was Mamish Baifun Goli. Eitan, he came back. It was 3 days later, the lawyer calls him up, or something like that. A week later, 4 days later. I don't know what you did, but the lawsuit is finished. Mamish Baifun Goli. And okay, so of course, since nothing in my life is a secret, so I told the story. So I have a nephew in Bellevue, Washington. a very, very chashuv nephew. His name is Rabbi Mordechai Farkash. Because of Rabbi Farkash, Rabbi Lipsker is here.
He was the shotgun.
He was a shotgun, he sure was. And Rabbi Farkash, one day, one by Farbrengen, he said a story. He says, I'm going to tell you a story about my uncle, I'm going to tell you a story about the thing, and he says the story. So there was a Russian Gvir, a Yid, a Russian Balabas, who had a tzara. I think it was more of a very serious legal issue. It was more of a legal...
The guy from Kamchatka?
I don't know. Some guy had a very serious...
Fish business.
Yeah, a very serious legal issue. So he comes over to Rav Farkash, he says, Rabbi, this week I'm paying the first class ticket. We're going to Hadij. He goes to Hadij, he says the whole Tilim, and the Eibusha helped, and he got out of the... the schus of the Alter Rebbe should continue. Baruch Hashem with and the schus of everybody, but the schus of Alter Rebbe, because schus of Yogan Aleinu, and and the Eibusha should help that everybody that has any needs should fulfill. Hashem should fulfill their needs in a way of Tech HaChava, in a way of Nachas and Chaim.